with the Expansion Network, accelerating the consciousness of humanity. And we are very blessed to have with us today Mieshiel. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Angel.
Absolutely. So Mieshiel is an artist, and actually he brought a piece of art.
I did.
And I would like actually to start the conversation so you can see the amazing work that he does. Can you put it like a little bit higher, like this? Is it good? Can we see it? Okay, good. Awesome. So could you tell us what inspires you, Mieshiel, as an artist?
Well, I call my work living art. It's kind of 3D, but it's produced in a 2D medium, which is paper. But it's living, it's cellular artwork. It has a life. When I'm creating it, when I'm drawing, it becomes alive. It takes on a life force of itself. And the style came up when I was in college, and I was just drawing on flat surfaces, and it was just kind of boring to me. And then, as the more and more I worked on it, the more my own energy I put into it. I realized that what my creations were becoming alive. There was a certain essence in it that took on a life form of its own. And so since then, that was 38 years ago, I've just been expanding. This is one of the first pieces I did back in 1983. And the original is about 3 feet. Now I'm doing pieces since then up to 15 feet and spend years at a time on them.
Wow. And what for instance, what's the title of this?
This is called Dawn of the Epoch. It's sort of like dawn of the new earth, dawn of the new age, the new era that we're moving into, the age of Aquarius. And it's really about, bringing more vibrant color, more positive energy to the planet. We've been in the Piscean era for 2,000 years, as you know, and it's been a pretty mixed up time, tumultuous time, full of a lot of conflict. But now we're moving into a time, I see it as, a very beautiful, peaceful, colorful time of expansion and new life, new species being created, and there's room to grow.
You say I'm seeing. How do you see it? Do you follow a specific way to be, inspired before you start a new piece?
Well, oftentimes I'll have a vision where in my mind's eye, I'll see a piece. I'll have a flash of it, and I'll see it in its entirety, and then I'll just draw it. Other times I'm inspired by where I go, some secret journeys I take. I've gone down to Mexico to the Yucatan. I've been to Egypt, all around the Southwest. I've done shamanic journeys. I've done vision quests, a lot of solo trips, and also with groups also. So I always come back with some inspiration about what I experienced on those trips.
And these trips, how do you pick the trips? Do you pick the location, the destination? How are you inspired to go to a particular place?
Well, I'll get a really strong feeling like I need to go there. Okay. A lot of it's been about past life journeys where I'll feel like a call to a certain place or a culture or to a language and feel a yearning where I have to go. So I'll just put everything down and I'll say, I'm going to go there, and just take off and go. And sometimes it's by myself, and sometimes it's with a group. But I always come back with an impression of where I went and what I experienced. And then I try to relate it with my art. Not always, but usually I have a few stories to tell with my art from that journey.
Who is typically the buyer of your work?
That's the beauty of it, is that it crosses all socioeconomic, cultural backgrounds. So it appeals to little kids, it appeals to older people, appeals to people that are into psychedelics or people who have never taken any drugs in their life. It's just because it's got a positive energy, and everybody that I've met that buys it wants a piece of that positive energy and the color and the light that I have to give. So it crosses all over every economic background and every type of person. But the common denominator is that they have to really resonate with my stuff and feel an attraction to it. But who that is, it's just a whole array of different kinds of people.
I mean, you've told us already that you've been almost for your entire life doing this. Has your style, has your motivation changed over time?
Well, so when I was little, I was raised by parents. My mom and dad were both fine artists and graphic artists, so they trained me to do different media since I was a little kid. But when I was 18 in college, the style came about. And since then, I've also been working on other things. I do pen and ink drawings. I do big abstract expressionist drawings and paintings as well. But this style, pencil style, I've stuck with since I was 18. That was 38 years ago when I came up with it. And it's still expanding and growing. And I can't really foresee a time that I'm going to be stopping the style. A few times they're so intricate, they're so labor intensive. Spent 3 years on one piece, it was 15 feet. And you know, sometimes when I complete that, I say, never again, I'm done. I'm going to do something else. And maybe I will for a while, even up, a year or two. But I always come back to the style of art because of the appeal, the mass appeal it has.
What do you have in mind when you are working on a new piece?
I try not to have anything in mind because then, whatever, if I think I'm projecting what I think I want, then it kind of gets in the way. So I just let whatever energy, whatever information, whatever, even down to the color pencil I use come out, or the shapes and form. It'll kind of dictate to me what it wants to be. So I step out of it. I keep my mind out of it as much as I can. But sometimes I do have an idea where I want to convey something, but then the rest just comes out automatically on paper.
You mentioned different styles throughout your career, throughout your life.
Right.
But also, do you work with different materials?
Yeah, I also work with oil paint from time to time, do abstract expressions paintings really large. I am also a pretty good cartoonist in pen and ink and watercolor. And then also I do have a line of block prints that I do on handmade paper, and they're really iconic, spiritual things, or also I have Southwest motifs. But that's a totally different thing I have also. So I work with that, and I can work on many at once. So I can feel more free to work on those, more free flowing, and break out of the pencil drawings, which are very limited to the amount of range that I have. But the block prints I can be more expressive with, and then some of them I go and paint into them as well. So when I'm tired of doing the pencil drawings or don't feel inspired, just sit at my desk for a month or two and work on one piece. I can do several of the other pieces at once.
You've mentioned that you try to communicate your spirituality through your work, but would you say also that your work has influenced your spirituality?
That's a really good observation. I would say that they kind of work in tandem with each other. Yeah, because oftentimes I'll be drawing and I'll have it'll bring up some emotion, or it'll bring up some memory or some feeling that I've never experienced before. So yeah, it sets in motion this whole, it opens doorways when I'm doing the work to the spiritual dimensions that may not have been opened otherwise. But at my desk, and the forms and shapes and the images that I'm creating invokes spirit and energy. So absolutely, yeah.
What would you say makes you different from other artists?
Well, I have my own unique style. You want to grab that that little one I gave?
Of course.
Okay. So this is based on a crop circle design. This is 40 by 60 inches. It's my own unique style in that it's not really a specific genre where you could say, oh, it's impressionism, or it's surrealism, or it's psychedelic art, or visionary art. It's sort of a cross between, it's a hybrid of all these different things, and it's really unique. And so it's kind of developed its own style, and I'm just sort of the conduit for letting this happen. But if anything, it set me apart because it's its own hybrid. But if I had to really pin it down, I would call it Impressionist Surrealism, if I had to title it.
Beautiful. I like the term, by the way. I had never heard it before.
I know, me neither, and neither has anybody else. So that's my thing.
Wonderful. What's the best way for the people, for our audience, to connect with you?
Probably through my website, Mieshiel.com.
Would you mind spelling it, please?
Yes, it's M as in Michael. Well, actually, here it is. So it's mieshiel.com. And then they can contact me and see a bunch of terrific images of my pencil work.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Hey, Mieshiel, thank you. Thank you so
very
much for
Angel.
being with us today.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, absolutely.
Okay.
You know, when Mieshiel has a booth here at the Conscious Life Expo, and he has plenty of his works. And I have to say, when you pass by, you really have to stop. You really have to stop there because you definitely feel the energy. So yeah, I mean, I have to say that because it's really true.
Oh, I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
You too.
And I'm sure that all of our audience has enjoyed our conversation with Mieshiel as much as we have.
Thank you.
Very much for being with us today. Again, this is Angel Reba with the Expansion Network, accelerating consciousness with humanity. Have a wonderful day.